In August of 2013, I walked out of a federal prison after 26 years. Before the end of that month, I was a professor at San Francisco State University where I taught this course called the Architecture of Incarceration. And I asked the students in that class, the people who attended my class, I asked them a question, and it's the same question I'm going to ask you as a viewer of the Prison Professors program. On the Prison Professors program, we strive to improve the outcomes of the criminal justice system for people who are going inside, for family members who have loved ones inside, for people who have come home. And I'm going to begin by asking you a question. What is the best possible outcome of America's criminal justice system? If that's the kind of information you're looking for, I do hope that you will subscribe to this channel and show support for those who sponsor our program, such as cbdtv.com. The reason that I've asked cbdtv.com to support this system is because we need to create an advocacy group for anybody who's going into the system, for people who have family members that are inside, for people who are inside, or for people who have been inside. And how do we create that advocacy program? We start with a question, just like I asked those students at San Francisco State University who were enrolled in this course called the Architecture of Incarceration. You see, since we've embarked upon this concept of mass incarceration, our country has really stopped making progress with regard to how do we improve those outcomes. And in that course, I gave the history of how we got to this level of being a system that really responds to every type of problem by locking people in a cage and then measuring the number of calendar years that pass before we let them out. In what universe is that construed as justice? Instead, what we should be thinking about is what is the best possible outcome? And if we can figure out what the best possible outcome is, we can start architecting or engineering a judicial system and a correction system and a criminal justice system that works toward getting us the outcome that we want. What we have right now is a system that the longer we incarcerate somebody, the longer we put somebody into corrections, the less likely that person is to emerge as a law-abiding, contributing, successful citizen. Instead, we take that person out of the job market, we take that person out of the credit market, we destroy that person's confidence, we let that person believe that they're never going to be a contributing member of society, and as a result, we get recidivism rates like we are currently experiencing. But on top of that, you've got a political system that effectively rewards the powerful and punishes those who live on the fringes or those that are on the margins. And so we end up with this system, an unbalanced system, that people serve sentences that are far too long, and they have no mechanism that incentivizes them to pursue a pathway to excellence. And isn't that what we want? When somebody goes into the criminal justice system, don't we want that person to begin working towards best possible outcomes? But if we don't define what best possible outcomes are, what do we get? We get a system that people go inside and they get a message from other people who have lost hope, with individuals who continue to come out of the prison system, go back into the prison, come out of the prison system, go back into the prison. And we don't have any mechanism through which an individual can work toward earning freedom. We don't have a system through which we incentivize a person to educate himself, participate in the types of courses that will lead to him emerge and integrate with society in an effective, productive way. And that is something that I believe every American citizen has an interest in changing. But who's going to give the message? Is it going to be the president, who talks about that he rejects efforts that he had been making in developing criminal justice reform? Is it going to be the attorney general, who really advocates on behalf of powerful people, but tens of thousands of other people who are in the criminal justice system get no advocacy? Is it going to be laws and systems that allow employers to discriminate against people who come home with a criminal background and discourages them from being able to work as law-abiding, contributing citizens? Nobody who comes out of prison wants to go back. But if we create a system that obliterates their possibilities of living as contributing American citizens, we've effectively put them on a pathway that leads to continued struggles, not only for them, but for intergenerational cycles of struggle. And it's our job at prison professors to change that narrative. And the way that we do that is by profiling other individuals who have emerged successfully. We create courses that we take into jails and prisons so that we can kind of intervene, kind of intercede, and help transmogrify them, transform them into becoming what they could possibly become rather than what they are. That's our goal. We truly believe that regardless of what bad decisions a person has made in the past, any individual can begin sowing seeds to build a better life. But they need hope. And prison professors provides them with that hope. We want to provide programs that not only help people who are incarcerated understand that they have the power within to become anything they want to become. They just have to do the work. We want to empower family members who have loved ones who are inside so that they know how to help their loved ones so that they can come back strong with their dignity intact. We want to help employers understand why it makes sense to hire formerly incarcerated people if those people have demonstrated they have the work ethic, they have the CEO mindset, which is what we teach in our program. We're an educational tool to teach and inspire family members of loved ones who are going into the prison system, people who are incarcerated, people who are going into the system, or people that have come out. And we do so by showing them the best possible outcome. We do so by showing them that they have to live in the world as it exists and not as they want it to be. Individuals need to learn how to become their own personal advocates. They need to learn how to position themselves to reject all of the negativity that exists inside of the criminal justice system and focus on what they want to become, what they can possibly become. But it doesn't happen by accident. In all of our programs, we talk about the importance of having a strategy that they can document, because that documentation is going to help them overcome the prejudice that hurts so many people who have gone through that system. We want to help them develop tools, tactics, and resources that they can create on their own through their own hard work so that they can emerge successfully. And we also want to give them tools and tactics and resources that they can measure along the way. Are they making progress toward that documented strategy? That is the pathway that we have found has worked for so many people, not only people who are in prison, but people who have had to transform their life. There are many people that I have met since I've come back to society that live in a much bigger prison than I was ever in, not because they broke the law necessarily, but because of the way they think. And it's our job at prison professors to teach people how to think different and differently. Okay, we want them to think not as what society expects of somebody who's in the prison system. In the prison system, there is a message that resonates through every jail and prison in America that the best way to serve time is to forget about the world outside. But at prison professors, we want people to really understand that the best way to serve time is to focus on the best possible outcome. But it's not only people in prison. It's also the staff members who work in a prison. It's also the legislators that appropriate funding on what is supposed to happen inside of a prison. It is also the employers that may want to hire people who've come out of the prison system. If we can identify excellence, a pathway to excellence, we can begin creating confidence for people who are going through it. We can begin showing people how to become their own best advocates. We can begin showing people how they will have to live in the world as it exists and not as they want it to be. Because if they believe that anybody who goes through the prison system and believes that they have served their time and they're going to come home and everything is going to be normal for them, is setting themselves up for a very difficult roadmap ahead. Instead, we've got to show people how to create their own income streams in a legitimate way, in a manner that is contributing to society. We've got to show people how they can sell themselves to other potential stakeholders that may want to invest in them. Last week, I interviewed an amazing guy who did 38 years in prison. And now he is working in a job that's called forensic cleaning. So when there's a crime scene or something going on that is just too dirty for other people to do, it is him that goes in there and cleans up that crime scene. And so my job would be to try and teach this person how to become an entrepreneur and create his own forensic cleaning business. Prison Professors is going to teach people that in jails and prisons across America. We are going to teach family members how to support their loved ones by changing the mindset when somebody goes in. And we're going to work with law firms and individuals. We want to provide them with free content that they can get right here and learn what does it mean to emerge successfully from a difficult experience. And that's something that I learned from reading about leaders that may have lived thousands of years ago and leaders that live today. All of them adhered to this concept of having a CEO mindset. They defined success, they created a strategy that they documented, they created tools, tactics, and resources, and they measured their progress every single day. That's the pathway that powered me. It is by never trying to define myself by being a convict or somebody who is defined by himself by his prison adjustment. Rather, an individual needs to define himself by the pathway that he is creating to emerge successfully with his dignity intact. If anybody who wants to support that message, I really encourage you, subscribe to the Prison Professors YouTube channel, the Prison Professors podcast, and please support our sponsors that make this show possible. We are an advocacy group, but primarily we strive to teach people how to be their own advocates. I am Michael Sanchez with Prison Professors, and I want to thank you for being a part of our community. Please leave comments below so that we can use this as a tool to teach more people how to pursue excellence, even if they have been brought into the criminal justice system. Thanks so much.